Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I got a couple of news stories out there. One, a pretty popular destination is investing a lot more money to try and get more tourism, especially cruise ships, into port. We also have an airline controller strike that has now affected a lot of cruise ships and a lot of cruisers. Then we have a story about one of the weirdest complaints I've ever heard, and a demand for their money back. Wait till you hear this one. Our first story is there's a cruise port out there that is pretty well known. In fact, I knew this port when I was a child because it played on the Love Boat all the time, saying, "The ship has now arrived in beautiful Puerto Vallarta." And, well, they decided they want more of those cruise dollars, and they're investing a ton of money, over $400 million in a beautification effort. Now, what they mean by that: clean streets, wider areas for tourists, more things to do, more dock infrastructure, and things like that. More like beautifying the port area, all these kind of things, cleaning up the whole area, making it more beautiful, more enticing for people to come. And I've always liked Puerto Vallarta, so yeah, I'm pretty excited to see that they're investing that money. They know that the tourism dollar coming from cruise ships can be a lot of money, a lot of money. In fact, I did a story the other day when the Regal Princess had to skip Picton because of a protest that was going on there, and I said, "Oh, you wonder how much it costs?" Well, I know how much it costs. It costs £400,000 for that one ship, 1 day loss of revenue for the businesses in Picton. £400,000, which is about $500,000 US. So that's a lot of money to lose in 1 day for businesses just because one ship didn't show up. Now imagine if that kept happening and they kept losing money like that every single week or every couple of days even. That could devastate businesses in local towns. So you can understand why a place like Puerto Vallarta would like to bring in more tourism dollars. Well, one thing that just happens all across Europe, they were having rail strikes, and rail strikes were causing havoc in the tourism industry, right? A lot of people were taking trains to get to destinations, to get to the cruises, or get to their flights, to get to other cities, etc. Well, that seems to be starting to end now, and especially in Italy. Now they have an air traffic controller strike that happened, and they warned them, saying on Saturday the 15th, we're doing a strike. Well, over 200,000 flights were canceled in Rome alone that day. And that caused a lot of the cruise ships to either leave much later because they wanted to give their passengers a chance to get to them, including one ship, the Viking ship that was in port, said, "Yeah, we're not even going to leave today. We're going to leave on Saturday at 6 p.m. to give our clients enough time to get to the ship." Because too many flights were canceled. Princess was in port that day, and so was, I think it was the Enchanted Princess was there, as well as the Norwegian Breakaway was in town that day sailing. It's a shame when strikes interfere with people's travels and trips, and this is no exception. It must have been, can you imagine you've been planning this trip for 1.5 years, and you're getting ready to set on your flight, and boom, they decide to cancel. That's another reason why I always say, when you're traveling, at least 1 day ahead. Fly 1 day ahead. Because if you flew in on the Saturday hoping to catch the Saturday cruise, you probably missed it. But if you flew in the day before, you were okay. You had that leeway. And if the strike would have happened the day before, then you had the next day to get there. At least you got some way to back yourself up. And too many people do the opposite. They say, "Well, I don't want to spend a night in a hotel, cost extra money," and they end up missing their whole cruise because of it. Well, a big tip, always try and arrive the day before. especially traveling across a continent to someplace else like Europe, Australia, Japan, never arrive the day the cruise is. So many things can happen. Now I have a complaint. Not my complaint. A complaint that somebody said that I read online, and it was one of the craziest complaints I've ever heard. But before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe if you would like to keep up to date with all things cruising, from the lighthearted side, like these crazy complaints, to the serious side, like things that happen that might make you miss your cruise, and tips and tricks to make your cruise just a little bit easier. I do my best to try and keep it as lighthearted as possible. Sometimes it's not possible, sometimes it is, but we'll do our best. I hope you'll join us here on the journey, and if you subscribe, it really does help the channel out, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, here's the complaint. Apparently, a person booked their cruise, and they got into their cabin, and their bed was against the wall on the right-hand side, and their balcony was, if you're lying in the bed, to the right. The person immediately went down to the front desk and said, I need a new room. I can't stay in this room. And they said, oh, is there something wrong with the room and everything? Yes, the bed is on the wrong side of the room. And the person said, what? Because that's what I would say. Yes, the bed is on the wrong side of the room. I can sleep with the window to my left when I'm sleeping. If I'm lying here like this, the window can't be here. The window has to be over here. I need you to change me to a room with the bed on the other side. Now, often that's possible because cabins are normally laid out where there's a bed on, if the bed's on the right-hand wall, then on the next cabin it's on the left-hand wall. There's a little indentation there where the beds kind of go into the wall and it kind of fits like a jigsaw puzzle. Often that's possible. However, when they checked, there were 10 cabins remaining left on this cruise. 3 of them were inside cabins. They didn't want the inside cabin. They paid for a balcony. And then the rest all had the bed on the exact same side of the ship. So they would have changed the exact same cabin. And they apparently freaked out. Not only at the desk, demanded to speak with the captain, demanded they move somebody from another cabin so that they can get into their cabin. It should be no problem for somebody else to move, just have them move. Now that's the, imagine the hubris on that person. Like that's top level, it's all about me mentality, right? Have them move their cabin because I'm me and you need to get out of my way. I've never heard anybody with such a fixation on, I like to sleep on the certain side of the bed because that's the way my head turns. But in all honesty, if that was the case, could you not just put the pillows on the other side of the bed? Like at the foot of the bed instead of the head of the bed? And that way you're sleeping with the window on the right side at that point? You just turn yourself around? Would that have been too much complicated? But no, they wanted to speak to the captain, complained, wanted all their money back for the cruise, demanded upgrades to suites, demanded free dining, demanded, and demanded that they would move other people from their cabin so they could have a bed on the right side for them to sleep. They didn't get that. And also, by the way, they didn't get their refund. Let me know, have you heard a crazier complaint than that? And wouldn't my idea of just flipping the head, you know, putting the pillows on the foot of the bed instead of the head solved everything? Would that not have worked? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, I really hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.